I believe that the gospel changes lives. There's nothing like the gospel to bring about the life that we are intended to have. Jesus Christ, when he lived for us and then died for us, was all about life change. And I'm one of the ones that's had my life change because of the gospel. But there's a young man I met that the gospel changed his life, and because of that, it changed my life, and it's changed many others because of that since. And it's helping make a difference in Mosinee, Wisconsin. I met Nick Nicewander the summer after his 8th grade year. Nick had found himself in a little bit of trouble. He'd gone to school, he gotten mixed up with some friends, and because of different things that had gone on, he got busted for bringing drugs to the school. It wasn't good. He knew he was in trouble, and he was expelled.
I met Nick in 8th grade class, and I remember having a hard time with Nick. He was very strong-willed and didn't really want to work with me very much, but those are my favorite type of kids. With good direction, I know that they're going to turn out to be something special.
I went to Pastor Joe and I'm like, Joe, what do we do? And he's like, well, we can help him, we can talk to him, but it would have to be his choice.
So we talked things over, and coming up in a couple of weeks was our Vacation Bible School. So we invited Nick to come help out at our Vacation Bible School, playing games with the kids. He joined us that day, and that whole week he stayed with it. He helped with the kids, had a great time. Over the course of time, I got to know Nick a little bit better, and Nick was a great kid. He rough around the edges, there's no doubt about that, but I saw his heart, and I believe that the gospel was just what he needed, and Nick was listening. Over time, we shared the gospel with him. He understood what saving faith, confessing his sins, all that was about with Jesus, and he became a believer. Not long after that, he was baptized, and he was doing what he needed to do to grow in his faith. We had a Bible study after school on Wednesdays. He would join us for, we called it Man Group. He never missed. He would join with us, and we would pray together, study God's Word, and he was growing in his faith.
It wasn't too long after that Pastor Joe reached out to me, and I found out that Nick had started making some real positive and serious changes in his life.
I was surprised, however, one Saturday evening. It was April 16th, 2016. I got a phone call from Carol saying I needed to go to the hospital. Nick was in a car accident, and she asked if I would stop up at the hospital. That was, without a doubt, one of the worst nights I've ever had.
He had been accepted into the program, and that was in February, and then in April.
Nick was 16 years old. It was prom night. He hadn't gone to prom. He was just going with his friends. There was no alcohol or drugs involved. He was just driving his car, lost control. His car rolled. There's 5 people in his vehicle that night. All of them walked away, but not Nick. He was at the hospital. When I went there, I assumed that it was going to be just a minor procedure, a minor accident. But as soon as I got there, I began to understand that's not what was about to happen here. As the night unfolded, we came to realize that Nick, because of the accident, sustained life-ending injuries.
It kind of hit me really hard because I was looking forward to having Nick in my room, because that's an opportunity where you can really reach into someone's life and help them change and give them a chance. And it's really tough to understand God's plan when those things happen. I was
in shock. I was in disbelief. I couldn't believe it. Why Nick? Why did that have to happen? I was angry, I was upset, but I also remember thinking, this cannot be wasted. Nick's life was not a waste. Nick's life is amazing, and his story needed to be told. And there's one person I knew I had to talk with this about.
Just a few days later, Pastor Joe showed up in my room, and it's just an example of him showing up. He brings me the life book, and at that moment, it was almost like he knew I needed it. And that started a change in me. It was like Pastor Joe could see something in me, and he knew that I needed something. And he brought me the life book, which started a very long process of changing my heart and my faith and having the gospel have a profound effect in my life. And it's very interesting how it's all tied together with Nick and how his story impacts another, and how God uses those stories to pull people together and change lives.
I've been praying for at least 3 or 4 years for the FCA group at Moseley High School to have a staff member, because we used to have one, but it didn't work out for them to do it anymore. And then I've been treading water. The group wasn't doing much. It could be something special, but it wasn't doing anything. And then Steve, out of the blue, out of nowhere, he calls me and says, Joe, we need to do a Bible study. We need to do some kind of a faith group at the high school. And I couldn't believe it.
I'm praying for God to use me in other ways. Like, I love my job and I love my coaching, but it felt like there's more. I can do more. I want to do more. And it's just really cool how God worked to bring the two of us together